Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
In today's financial news, blue chip stocks slid into the red as investors wrestled with clashing economic indicators. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 37 points or 0.4% in recent trading. Consumer-oriented stocks led the measure's declines. Home Depot dropped 1.9%, while Procter & Gamble fell 1.7%, and Coca-Cola was down 1%. The S&P 500 stock index shed 0.4%, also led downward by its consumer sector. The Commerce Department said retail sales fell 1.2% in May as consumers slowed their spending on cars, clothing, and other goods. Economists were expecting a 0.2% increase. More encouragingly, the Reuters University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey rose to 75.5, above the 74 reading expected by economists. In today's U.S. news, the sun is about to get a lot more active, which could have ill effects on our planet. So to prepare, top sun scientists met to discuss the best ways to protect Earth's satellites and other vital systems from the coming solar storms. Solar storms occur when sunspots on our star erupt and spew out fumes of charged particles that can damage power systems. The sun's activity typically follows an 11-year cycle, and it looks to be coming out of a slump and gearing up for an active period. The sun is waking up from a deep slumber, and in the next few years, we expect to see much higher levels of solar activity, said Richard Fisher, head of NASA's Heliophysics Division. Fisher and other experts met at the Space Weather Enterprise Forum, which took place in Washington, D.C. at the National Press Club. People of the 21st century rely on high-tech systems for the basics of daily life. This is important because smart power grids, GPS navigation, air travel, and financial services, as well as emergency radio communications, can all be knocked out by intense solar activity. In today's international news, one day after the Security Council approved new sanctions against them, the authorities in Tehran threatened to revise their relationship with the United Nations nuclear watchdog, using familiar language that has in the past been a precursor to moves that limit global oversight of Iran's nuclear program. State-run Press TV quoted head of the National Security and Foreign Policy in the Iranian parliament as saying legislators would meet to push for legislation to reduce Iran's relations with the International Atomic Energy Agency. He did not offer details of a likely response to the Security Council action approved by 12 of the 15 members. Brazil and Turkey opposed the measure, and Lebanon abstained. China supported the sanctions, and Ali Saleh, the head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization, sharply criticized Beijing, saying that Chinese support for the new measures would affect its standing in the Muslim world. In today's entertainment news, a spokesman for Larry King said that the talk show host's wife is recovering after an apparent prescription drug overdose last month in Utah. Emergency medical workers were called to Sean King's home in Provo on May 28th. Her father dialed 911 after finding the 50-year-old woman in her bed, breathing but not responding when he tried to wake her, according to a transcript of the emergency call. Officers who responded to the call found several prescription bottles, including Ambien and an anti-anxiety medication that had been filled within 10 days but were empty. It also said that there was a note written that indicated that she had taken the pills intentionally. Another note expressed Sean King's desire to be buried in Utah. The police report did not include any mention of why Sean King wanted to harm herself. Sean King is Larry King's 7th wife. The couple have been married since 1997 and have 2 sons. In today's tech news, Google's official Android App Store is getting some competition as upstart independent challengers create their own app stores to lure users with the promise of more freedom, better access to apps, and increased revenue. But it's all kosher because unlike Apple, Google allows for multiple app stores to exist on the Android operating system. A new Android app store called AndSpot plans to coax developers and users to try an alternative Android app store with better search and app recommendation features. Google's Android market is slow and not as user-friendly as it can be, says one of the co-founders of AndSpot. You don't leave the market thinking this is great. Instead, you're thinking this is slow, clunky, and if you're a developer, my app is not getting much exposure. Over the next few weeks, the co-founders of AndSpot are hoping to unveil a snazzy new app store that they say will have a much better design and a better way to discover apps. We want to bring a level of personalization to the marketplace. AndSpot is currently in private beta with its features available only to a small group of developers and users. AndSpot is not the only one trying to take on the official Google App Store. Larger publishers such as Fandango and GetJar have distributed a number of apps through their stores across multiple platforms, though on the iPhone they just publish individual apps. In today's fashion news, British evening dress and wedding gown designer Jenny Packham has announced that she will stage her Spring and Summer 2011 show at New York Fashion Week this September. Packham's designs are red carpet favorites among the young Hollywood set, including Miley Cyrus, who wore Packham to the Oscars, Taylor Swift, Vanessa Hudgens, and Carrie Underwood. Fellow Brit Keira Knightley has also donned her designs. Packham says, "A lot of my fans have been asking for us to show in the U.S. for quite some time, and it means a lot of the girls can fly over from L.A. to see it as well." As for boutiques, Packham's got flagships in Paris and London.
When you've got a serious leak, it's time for Leakender 2000. It fixes any leak fast, no matter what's leaking. Just spray it with Leakender 2000, and in minutes, the leak is sealed. Look, we'll cut this garden hose with a knife, then shut off the water and spray on Leakender 2000. Minutes later, the hose is as good as new. The cut is sealed. Leakender 2000 is a unique compound that fills and seals any crack or separation as it hardens. Why put up with gushing gutters, dripping drains, wet windowsills, and rain-soaked RVs? Leakender 2000 stops all those leaks, and it's yours for only $14.95. Call now and we'll double your order. We'll send you this giant-size can at no extra charge. Order now.
To order, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-936-0300 or send check or money order for $14.95 plus $5.95 shipping to the address on your screen. Call 1-800-936-0300.
In today's Green News, Fabien Cousteau, grandson of ocean explorer Jacques Cousteau, has a mission to empower communities to replant important marine species in their local habitats. From oysters in New York Harbor to sea turtles in El Salvador to corals in the Maldives, and the Ocean Advocate is hoping to spark a worldwide effort of rehabilitating our marine ecosystems. To do so, he started up a nonprofit called Plant a Fish, and the efforts are starting at the edge of Brooklyn. According to the Plant a Fish, over 97% of the Earth is covered by aquatic ecosystems, and more than 20% of the world's population relies on these as a source of food or income. This means healthy economies and human populations are dependent upon healthy oceans. Yet we're destroying them at a terrifying rate. Restoring what we have is key to seeing any sort of marine life in the future. My grandfather often said that people protect what they love. The mission of Plant a Fish is to help people learn more and ultimately care more by getting wet and getting directly involved in restoring and protecting water bodies and marine life, said Fabien Cousteau, a founder of Plant a Fish. Entire species of marine life are disappearing at an alarming rate. In the past 50 years, almost 60% of our world's fish stocks have been consumed, and less than 10% of the big fish species are left in the world. It's time we stop acting as hunters and start becoming farmers. We must tend to the oceans as we do a prized garden, and ultimately depend on them as well. Cousteau and students from the Urban Assembly New York Harbor School and Bushwick Brooklyn Public School replanted 130,000 oysters in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. It's no small feat. Cost around $5,000 to plant 10,000 oysters, and Cousteau is hoping to see 1 billion oysters living in the bay eventually. The effort hopes to be repeated by a Plant a Fish across the globe with species important to various ecosystems. It's a big goal, but with a family history of making amazing things happen, it's possible that we'll see new life sprouting up all over the ocean. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.